Once upon a time in the West African savannah, there was a beautiful young girl. Her name was Sira. Sira was as beautiful as the dawn. Her teeth were so white, they looked like cotton shining in the sun. She had a graceful neck and a well-shaped chest. The beads she wore around her waist seemed to sing and praise her beauty and charm. In short, Sira possessed everything that could awaken in a man the desire to have her, to marry her, and to keep her jealously in the privacy of his hut. When Sira was a child, she had a friend named Bonnie. Bonnie and Sira grew up together and were very close. The village called them husband and wife, and a certain bond had formed between their two families. They supported each other in good times and in bad. The two children loved each other, and when they became adults, everyone in the village understood the meaning of their love and decided to marry them. The wedding was celebrated with the blessing of all the parents and in the faith and joy of their friends. However, there was one person who could not contain his jealousy toward the young and beautiful couple. It was the sorcerer, Tura. Tura was very skilled in the occult arts. He was said to have Satan himself as his daily companion. Stories. The presence of this evil companion revealed itself through the following signs. Tura was always circled by a white-crowned vulture. His eyes were constantly red, and he never slept during the day. When the wedding celebrations were over, Tura sprang into action. On her wedding night, Sira suffered from terrible headaches. On the second night, the headaches persisted, as they did on the third and fourth nights. By the fifth night, severe stomach pains were added to the violent headaches. Sira felt the pain spreading to her back and hips. She sweated, cried out, wept, and suffered intensely. Sira sent for her mother and said to her, "Mother, can you help me find a remedy for my pain?" "My daughter, I will gather all the marabouts and sorcerers in our land. If I must spend all my savings, I will do it for you, my only beloved child." "Mother, my husband's family is beginning to lose patience. I beg you to save my love and my marriage." "I will do it, my child, and if necessary, I will sacrifice myself to lift this misfortune that has struck you." Sira's mother gathered all the marabouts and sacrificed nearly her entire herd of cattle. The effort was unsuccessful. She repeated it 4 times. Nothing changed. Sira sent for her again. The pain persisted. She had become very thin and had lost all her charm because of the illness. Her sisters-in-law began a widespread campaign of slander against her. "What kind of useless woman is always lying on what looks like a deathbed?" A week later, the husband's family sent the griot to dissolve the marriage between Sira and Bonnie. The marriage had not been consummated, and Sira's family was required to reimburse the essential expenses that had been paid for the union. That very night, Sira was carried back to her mother's hut like a small child riding on someone's back. They cried together throughout the night. Then, Sira swore that she would marry the man who would cure her of her suffering. For Sira's happiness, the mother said to him, "My daughter is sick, broken, and she cannot even stand." "That is not a problem," said the sorcerer. "I will settle it in 3 days. If I fail, I will leave this village and you will never hear of me again." Sira, who had heard the entire conversation from the back of the hut, had already made her decision. "Mother, I will marry this man if he cures me." Though the mother did not approve of this choice, she accepted it but did not give up hope. As soon as the sorcerer began the treatment, she ran to see her brother and said to him, My only child must marry that scoundrel. I beg you to do something." "My sister," said the uncle, "let the will of the ancestors be done. Our family has never harmed anyone. May that be remembered in our favor." Sira was healed by the sorcerer Tura, who announced their marriage with great publicity. He mocked all the diviners and hunters whose efforts to win her had been in vain. The wedding day arrived. No vulture was seen in the sky, and a great whirlwind rose, scattering the guests. The sorcerer flew into a violent rage, withdrew into his hut, and fell asleep. When he woke, the sun was at its highest point. He leapt out of his hut. No vultures. Sira was there, seated, surrounded by a few elderly women who made their living attending weddings, baptisms, and funerals. When night fell, Tura rushed into the hut to consummate the marriage. Sira was prepared and presented to him. As soon as the young bride was laid on the bed, he rushed forward, undressed, and immediately tried to consummate the union. But at that very moment, he realized that he had nothing between his legs. Astonished, he stirred up the fire to light the hut more clearly. That was when Sira also realized that her husband had nothing between his legs. She tried to reassure him with gentle words, but he refused to listen. He called her a witch and swore to take revenge. Immediately, he repudiated her and left the village that very night. Sira, now healed, married Bonnie once again, and they had beautiful children together.